JavaScript has an event bubbling kind of a model to deal with situations where a single event, say a mouse click, is required to be handled by two or more event handlers defined at different levels of the DOM hierarchy. What do I mean by that? Well, you know that DOM is a tree structure, which means that elements can have parents, and then those parents can have their own parents. Suppose this graphic shows you an HTML DOM structure, and here we have these handlers tied to the respective DOM elements. So these handlers are the mouse click handlers. And let's say this handler is the key up event handler, alright? And let's say that we clicked on this list item element. I mean on the browser, of course. This mouse click generates a mouse click event. And the first handler that will be checked for will be the one tied to the place where the click was generated, which is this list item. And after this handler has handled the event, it is further propagated or bubbled up the chain to the parent of the list item, which is the unsorted list. And this has a handler, but that handler is registered with the key up event. So it is not the relevant handler. So the event is further bubbled up, and the parent div doesn't have handler. So the event is bubbled up again to the body element, which does have a mouse click handler function. So now this function captures the event and does something about it. Alright. And by bubbling up, we mean bubbling towards the root of the DOM tree, which is the document object, parent by parent. Now notice that siblings don't get that event. For example, if the click happened on this li element, the one above will not get a chance to capture that event. Alright? So the bubbling happens towards the parent of the element. Let me quickly implement this example to make it clear. Let's get back to our HTML page. And let's register a click handler to the window object as well, which means that if we click anywhere on the page, this handler will be able to capture the mouse click event. Let's just log this message on the console. And we had already registered some click handlers with the span and text input box elements. Let's reload the page. And now click on the text box. As you can see, not only did the color of the text box change because a click handler was registered with the input element, that click event also propagated and bubbled up to the parent window object, and hence we can also see this log statement. The event object that is created can be passed to the callback function. By the way, this is just the parameter name. You can use any other name such as E or whatever. Now that the event object is available within the callback function, we can do something with it. For example, we can stop the propagation of the event by calling the stop propagation method on the event object. So what this does is that this particular event handler becomes the last one to capture this event, and the event is not further propagated. We will talk about the event object in more detail in the next lecture. Right now, I will just show you how to stop event from getting propagated. So let's reload the page. And now if we click on the input text box, its background color turns blue, but there is nothing printed on the console. So the event handler for window did not capture the click event because it was stopped from propagating in the first callback function itself. Just like stopping the event propagation, we can also ask the browser not to proceed with the default action associated with an event. For example, let's include this hyperlink on our page. Let's reload the page. And if we click on the link, the browser follows the hyperlink and takes us to google.com. Now let me attach an event handler to this hyperlink inside the load function, because we can do it only when all elements have been loaded on the page. Here in the body of the anonymous callback function, I have put a log statement so that we can see that this function was called. And then we are preventing the default action that is associated with the event, which is to follow the hyperlink. So now let me reload the page. And click on the link. As you can see, there are two log statements, one from the click handler associated with the window object, and the other is of course the one associated with the hyperlink. But because we have also asked to prevent the default action associated with the click, the browser is not going to google.com. This is mostly useful if you are doing things like form post Ajax style, in which case you would want to stop the browser from submitting the form itself, because you want to do it programmatically through JavaScript.